So, in the month of January, I decided to try vegan. I know, crazy, right? But I wanted to experience it for myself because let's face it, you can study something all day long, but until you actually go through it and experience it, you really don't have a feel for really truly what it is. And so that's why I wanted to give it a try. And today I'm talking all about that. So if you've thought about maybe going vegan, if you have questions about it, if you think you hate it, like stay tuned because man, I've got a lot of information. So strap in and get ready for episode 103. Let's go.
I've always been that skinny guy.
Why can't I gain muscle mass?
What do I do in the gym?
They said I'd always be skinny.
This is your complete source for how to gain lean muscle and break out of your skinny body. From nutrition to getting the most out of your workouts and everything in between. We know just how frustrating gaining muscle mass can be, but don't worry, we've got you covered. You're listening to the Bones to Bulk podcast. Hey, welcome to today's episode. My name is Brian Parody. I will be your host today. And if you have not been over to bonestobulk.com, head on over there. Right on the main page, you will see the free training that I created. It's basically like a 15-minute video where I sit down and I really lay out the 3 things I wish someone had sat down and told me when I started, because it would have saved me so much freaking time and heartache and frustration. So I created that for you. Head on over, bonestobulk.com. It's right there on the homepage. Sign up. It'll be delivered to your inbox. Super easy. And it's free. So why not? All right, with that being said, let's dive into today's episode. So for the month of January, I decided to go vegan, and my wife decided to go vegan with me. And there's a lot of reasons why I did it. For one, I was genuinely curious about it. I had read a lot of information. I'd seen different things on it, and so I was curious. What was it to this whole vegan thing? Second, as a trainer, I get asked a lot of questions about it because people are curious. They want to know if it works. And while I have experience in the form of studying it and reading about it and that type of information, I didn't have any firsthand experience, so I wanted to gain that. And the third reason why I even considered it is because, as you know, I cannot stand diets that restrict your macros. For instance, keto or paleo, things that tell you can't eat carbs. Don't even get me started on all that because I could go on. If you listen to this podcast, you know how much I could go on about all that because there are healthy carbs, there are healthy fats, and there are healthy proteins, and we need all of them. That's right. We need all of them. And so the only reason I even considered vegan is because I can control my macros still. I can eat as much protein as I want, as much carbohydrates as I want, as much healthy fats as I want. So there's no restriction there. So that's why I even decided to give it a shot. So I'm going to kind of give a rundown of just exactly how I felt. Again, this is my own personal experience with it, nothing else. So week 1, not going to lie, was absolute hell. I felt terrible. Apparently this is pretty normal when you go through such a huge change and cut out everything. And like vegan is not just no meat. Vegan is no animal products. So that means like no milk, butter, cheese, ice cream, yogurt, cottage cheese, like anything that has some type of milk form in it or meat form in it, it's all off limits. So yeah. Let me lay that out first. The difference between that and vegetarian is strictly just no meat, but you can still have other animal products. So vegan, 0 animal products. All right, that's cleared up. So yeah, week 1 absolutely sucked. I felt terrible. I felt sick. I threw up a lot. I felt like I was living on the toilet, not trying to be graphic, but just keeping it real. I began having really bad night sweats. Like I would wake up in the middle of the night, literally like I had just gotten out of the shower and climbed in bed. Never before in my life have I experienced that. Apparently that is also not always, but it can be a side effect of doing that vegan. So that was my first week experience. Not very good. Week 2 started to get a lot better. I started to feel more like myself. I'm not going to lie, my stomach still felt a little uneasy, but things really began to balance out, and I kind of hit my stride a little bit in week 2 and really discovered a lot of good recipes. When you're forced to find other sources of protein, which there are a lot, there really are. Kind of some main sources of protein for me were black beans and chickpeas, hummus. So I got a lot of my protein from those things. I also discovered this soybean pasta that's actually pretty tasty. It has like 24 grams of protein per serving. So there's definitely options out there. Now, there's also a lot of unhealthy options out there. Just like in regular eating, there's a lot of processed food when it comes to eating vegan. And what I mean by that is there's a lot of meat substitutes. Like there's literally chicken wings and chicken tenders and chicken patties and hamburgers and all these sausage, all these things, and they're made with soy and they're made with a lot of artificial ingredients. So while just like with regular eating, there is a healthy way to go about eating vegan, and there's also a very not healthy way to go about eating vegan. Like they make vegan pizza and cookies and ice cream and all that stuff you can still consume on a vegan diet. So it's not that vegan is automatically healthy. You still need to be eating naturally and from natural food sources, just like if you were eating normal and not on a vegan diet. In week 2, I felt good in the gym. I felt pretty normal as far as my lifts go. I didn't feel like anything was, lagging behind or that I was struggling with anything. Again, the only thing I experienced in week 2 was still a little bit of queasiness in my stomach. And that was kind of constant. It was just kind of there in the back, kind of like when you eat something and it just doesn't sit right with you a little bit. Not like a sick level, but just kind of a mild. That's kind of how I felt perpetually throughout the day. By week 3, I did feel even better and more normal. Still, again, I had a little bit of that queasiness, and I think I threw up once in week 3. I don't know what caused it. It was really random, but that happened. So fast forward to day 20, and January 20th, I sat down, and at the beginning of the month, I had taken my weight, I had taken all my measurements, my neck, my biceps, my waist, my thigh, like everything. I'd been tracking everything. All right, now keep in mind, my overall calories per day, I was consuming roughly 400 to 500 calories above what my maintenance level was, because my goal was to put on more weight, more mass throughout the vegan journey. So I was eating in a surplus. Now, my macros changed quite a bit. My fat went up, my carbs went up, and my protein went down quite a bit. So that was a shift in overall macros. Even though I was getting a lot of protein from other sources, it still went down. And what I found when I redid measurements on January 20th, because my original goal was to do the entire month of January. So till the 31st. And that's right. Spoiler alert, it didn't happen, because on the 20th, I weighed in, I did my measurements, and my size had gone way down. I had lost 2 inches on my chest in just the last 2 weeks, because I did a measurement like week 1. So that went down 2 inches. I lost about between a ½ inch and 3/4 of an inch on every other area, my neck, my bicep, and my waist. The only thing that did not change was my thigh. That stayed exactly the same. So that was very disheartening, as, you know, it's all about bones to bulk, right? You know, it's a struggle for me too to maintain my current weight, to maintain my current size. Like, I have to stay vigilant with it. You know, I was sick in December for 2 weeks, like probably the most sick I've ever been in my life at the beginning of December. And I lost, not even kidding, over 10 pounds in 2 weeks, because I couldn't keep food down. I tried and tried to eat, and everything would come back up. And so I literally was at a loss for getting enough calories in for those 2 weeks while I was really sick. So, like, if that gives you an idea of if I'm not eating, how fast weight comes off me. So I was eating in surplus. I was still losing overall size, and my weight was dropping too. I lost about just over 3 pounds in that period as well. So not a huge weight loss, but definitely a loss in size. I mean, 2 inches across my chest is a pretty big drop in just a few weeks. So needless to say, my decision to end it stemmed from that. And it wasn't something I took lightly, because I don't believe in quitting things, but I also had to realize, like, this is a trial. This isn't me, you know, committing to this kind of lifestyle. It's a trial. And I tried it for 1 day shy of 3 weeks, which I felt like was a pretty good test run. And based on the results, it wasn't for me. Now, I will say, if you are trying to lose some weight, it's probably a fantastic way to do it. Like, absolutely.
And I do believe that, if you're doing it right, if you're eating natural foods and stuff, I think it really is a healthy thing. I do have a newfound respect to vegans, so hats off to those who are doing the vegan thing, doing it naturally, because it takes some discipline, it takes some hard work, it takes a lot of commitment. And so I definitely have a newfound respect for it. I have a newfound understanding of it. And yeah, that's my 2 cents on the vegan diet. One other thing, protein powder. I couldn't do whey protein, so I did pea protein. I found some amazing recipes on the vegan diet. In fact, I found some that I'm going to continue to use, maybe sometimes add meat to them, or maybe sometimes just still do a vegan meal here and there. Like, I'm totally fine with probably going a day or two a week still doing vegan, because I think it's a healthy thing. Like, I don't think it's a bad thing at all. And honestly, I do think, if you listen to I think we do consume too much meat. As you know, I don't really do red meat at all. I don't do pork at all. I primarily just eat chicken as it is. So my meat consumption is pretty low in comparison to the standard American diet, so to speak. So the pea protein, like I said, I tried a lot of good things, but oh my gosh, it was disgusting. Like the nastiest stuff. It literally tasted like, when you mow your lawn and you have those fresh grass clippings out there and that smell. And I imagine that those grass clippings would have tasted the same exact way if I'd thrown those in the blender as the pea protein did. Like, that's how bad it was. Maybe it just was me. I don't know. But anyway, so that's my wrap. I'm back on a normal diet now. I feel fine. Like, I haven't had any queasiness. There was no weird adjustments going back to it. The night sweats literally stopped immediately. Like, I had them every single night since I started, waking up absolutely. I was so drenched every night. I would have to literally get up and go change clothes completely because they were soaked through. Like, the most insane thing I've ever experienced. And literally immediately stopped the night I went back. Or the day that I went back to normal eating, that night I was back to normal with that. So that was very strange. I wasn't expecting that. But yeah, that is all. If you have any specific questions, I'd love to answer them. Feel free to reach out to me on the YouTube channel, on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, like wherever you follow me. And please follow me somewhere. Like, I would love that if you're on any of those platforms. It's Bones to Bulk everywhere. Check us out. Facebook, we have an amazing group. TikTok. It's a lot of fun over there. And then, of course, Instagram. So please go like, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Follow. You know what I'm talking about. All right. With that being said, remember, don't be afraid to try new things. That's kind of the biggest thing I want you to take away from this. Everything is a learning process. We can always learn more, even if something doesn't pan out, even if something doesn't work the way we thought, even if something we're not really even going into it for the purpose of long term. We can still learn valuable information when we just kind of open our minds to new things. So don't be afraid to try new things, assess, and then go from there. With that being said, remember, no matter what anybody's told you, what walls you've hit, what things you're thinking about trying out, go for it. Do it. You've got this.